The clue's in the name. The MSI Titan 18HX is an absolute beast, but it's one very few will need or afford. MSI has thrown everything at its latest flagship, and this is as good as it gets in 2024. A real snapshot of peak gaming laptop performance, as it stands today. Of course, to take a look at that picture you'll need to fork over well over $5,000. With its 4K mini LED display, desktop-like stature, and more creator-inspired features, though, this is more than a gaming laptop. It's a pinnacle rig for wealthy gamers or those looking for an all-in-one media creation suite. It's the best gaming laptop I've tested so far from a sheer performance standpoint, but it's certainly not going to be for everyone. Design. Of course, an 18-inch powerhouse is always going to be big. The MSI Titan 18HX measures in at 3.17 by 40.38 by 30.48 centimeters and weighs 3.59 kilograms. That's right in the middle of other 18-inch machines. It's heavier than the Razer Blade 18 and Asus ROG Strix Scar 18, both 3.1 kilograms, but keeps things light compared to the Alienware M18, 4.23 kilograms. It is, however, significantly thicker than the M18 at 3.17 centimeters versus 2.66 centimeters, making for a more unwieldy device overall. Add the extra length from the additional cooling shelf at the back, translating to between 1 centimeter and 2 centimeters larger footprint compared to Asus and Razer's 18-inch models, and the MSI Titan is living up to its moniker. I don't expect many to be actually lugging this machine around, though. Most 18-inch gaming laptops are designed to sit on a desk and stay there, with the option to close up that clamshell and relocate every now and then. If you're considering taking this big screen experience on the go regularly, though, I'd have to point you towards a slightly smaller model. As it stands, these dimensions won't fit into a regular laptop backpack, and after carrying it in a modified sling pouch for about 15 minutes, I can confidently recommend nobody does the same. The overall aesthetic keeps things simple and subdued, though. A matte black lid with silver accents running across an industrially styled cooling shelf, think that anti-slip metal flooring you'll find on fairground rides, ensures a low profile broken only by an RGB lit MSI logo in the center of the lid. The solid construction and lack of any real flex in the lid means this looks and feels like a luxury design, though it's not quite as slick as Razer's classic CNC mill brick nor as RGB friendly as Asus's blaze of glory. There's a little flex to the main keyboard, but only when explicitly feeling for it. Everyday typing is immune. The whole device is solid, though, with no creaking or rattling, and a sturdy, dependable feel. Inside, I was initially met with a surprise. No trackpad? Of course, there is a pad here. It's just fully haptic based with no cutout from the main deck. That means it's only visible via RGB lighting when the laptop is switched on, otherwise settling flush with the rest of the glass surface. What seemed cool at first, though, quickly became annoying. With no border to the trackpad itself, I was constantly straying off to the side of the main deck during testing, a frustrating recurrence, only made more frequent by the fact that this is a slightly smaller pad than you'll usually find on an 18-inch model. The vast majority of users are likely going to be plugging a separate gaming mouse in, but it's still finicky for quicker, everyday use. Underneath, you'll find a set of fairly high-rise rubber stilts used to keep plenty of space for airflow around the large number of vents. This is also where you'll find a small blue accent running through the aesthetic, repeated towards the rear of the device as well. My unit came with some slight wear around one of the screws connecting the bottom panel. While it's true that this is not a box-fresh device, and has likely been shipped around the country before heading my way, this could be a point of weakness during future use, especially if you're opening up the rig regularly. Features. This is a tricked-out rig. Under the hood, you'll find an RTX 4090 GPU running at its full 175 WTDP, an Intel 14th generation i9-14900HX blazing through 24 cores and 32 threads, an overkill 128GB RAM, and split 2TB SSDs forming 4TB total storage. In theory, you can expand up to 4 memory slots. That's an insane spec, one that the vast majority of players wouldn't need to touch with a $5,000 barge pole. But if you're going big with your next investment, this is certainly where you'll need to be looking. Those kinds of specs mean the Titan 18HX is going to be able to handle pretty much any computing task you could throw at it, and with a 4K mini LED display that also includes content creation. The 120Hz panel does suffer for speed in favor of clarity and resolution, but it still offers up a gorgeous display. Gamers will benefit from extraordinary detail, though you're dropping a little motion accuracy to get there, compared to machines using 165Hz or 240Hz panels, while creators will be able to view images in full resolution with excellent color reproduction. Local dimming means HDR content absolutely shines, with fantastic contrast ratios and a brightness that will put the OLED on the Razer Blade 16 to shame. Unfortunately, you're out of luck if you do want to sacrifice that high-resolution quality for extra speed. The MSI Titan 18HX only ships with this top-shelf display. There's another flagship favorite here as well, one that I've only seen on the best Alienware laptops in the past, a full mechanical keyboard from Cherry and SteelSeries. The switches underneath offer a tactile feel with a satisfying clack and energetic movement. However, the actuation bump used in here does make repeat presses a little harder. Spamming was a little slower on this deck than a regular Chiclet-style keyboard during my testing. I also noticed some ping running around the main deck when typing, usually the result of echo-eye switches in a board that hasn't been through the same sound dampening processes you'll find in the best gaming keyboards these days. I came to this deck from gaming laptops with reduced layouts, so I was initially struggling to place my hands correctly when starting each session. Each key does feel a little more separated on this model, which could also explain some of the inaccuracy I felt, though this would be rectified with time and muscle memory. 18-inch gaming laptops want to completely replace your desktop, often without the need for an external hub or dock. That means you can expect a good range of ports, and the MSI Titan 18HX delivers. The left panel houses the SD card reader and two USB 3.2 Gen 2 ports with a third situated on the right side. Joining it are two USB-C Thunderbolt 4 options with one offering power delivery. I was pleased to find a few ports to the rear of the machine. This placement does wonders for cable management, keeping the sides of the machine free from a tangle of wires when placed on a desk. MSI, however, has limited these rear ports to connections you'll only need to set and forget: power, HDMI 2.1, and Ethernet. Everything else remains flexible at the sides, even if that does mean a little sprawling. Personally, I prefer to keep everything to the back. Alienware generally keeps most of its connections hidden, but if you're constantly switching peripherals, this is a more versatile arrangement. The Alienware M18 offers a similar array, though with older Gen 1 USB 8 ports, but adds a mini display port into the mix. However, the Asus ROG Strix Scar 18 is far behind here, only offering two USB-A connections and a single Thunderbolt 4 option among its two USB-C ports. It's worth noting that the original Razer Blade 18 posted a single Thunderbolt 4 as well, though the 2024 version packs Thunderbolt 5 for the first time. In the real world, that means you'll be able to run three 4K 144Hz monitors off a single port on the Blade 18, with the MSI Titan being limited to two. It also makes for more powerful charging, though neither of these machines are going to realistically be relying on USB-C power for much of their lives. I've never felt the need to run the MSI Titan 18HX off a single Thunderbolt cable alone when it's set up in full glory on my desktop. All that power needs some serious cooling, and that's where MSI's vapor chamber comes in. The system uses two fans with four exhausts, and those aforementioned stilts to keep everything running smoothly. I never noticed temperatures creeping to uncomfortable levels during my testing, and both CPU and GPU performance never suggested any kind of thermal throttling. The fans themselves can certainly rev, though. It's by no means as deafening as something like the Alienware machines of yore, but you'll still need a gaming headset when playing at full whack. And MSI can go to full whack. The Titan 18HX features the brand's Overboost Ultra Tech, a fancy way of saying you can set the performance to max and keep everything running off the dedicated GPU. All of this is done in MSI Center, a refreshingly non-gamer vibing piece of software that houses all your performance stats and AI offerings. I'm not a massive fan of this suite. It seems to hide certain features under different user scenarios, some of which feel at odds with the functions they hide. It meant I was regularly digging through unintuitive menus during my testing, simply to swap between fan states. You'll find the AI engine housed here, though, a mode that allows the system to automatically apply certain performance settings and allocate more resource towards certain processes during individual tasks. There are 4 scenarios currently recognized by the laptop itself: meetings, work, gaming, and entertainment. This is a minor feature in the grand scheme of things, but it's a set and forget function that can come in particularly handy when running through different tasks regularly. It's often the quieter features that you don't have to notice that make the best rigs. For all my MSI Center frustrations, I was menu-free when swapping between writing and gaming, and that's not something I could have said last year. It's another nod to the holistic approach the Titan is taking, aiming squarely at a small, but willing to pay, market of professionals looking for a content creation and gaming desktop replacement. That target means the Titan also houses a solid FHD webcam, bright and detailed enough for work calls but not quite broadcast-worthy, and a responsive microphone system. The desktop replacement part of that market also means that the battery is just awful. MSI never really expected this to be a portable machine, so it's understandable that I was only able to draw about an hour of work across Google Chrome and a few image editing programs out of a full charge. Judging this laptop based on its battery life would be like judging an F1 car on its subwoofer, though it's just not designed to use it.